Welcome friends, today I wanted to go over a Blender fork made by DillonGoo Studios called Goo Engine. It is for non-photorealistic rendering, more towards toon shading and cel shading, anime type look. It is available on their Patreon page, so you have to be a patron of their page to get a look at the Goo Engine. I think you have to be part of their $5 a month patron list. But as soon as you become a patron, you can get the latest version. But you still have to be a patron later on if you want to get later versions of it. So there's that. And it basically runs off of their modified EEVEE engine. And there's particular nodes in their node setup that they add to make this all work. Now on their Gumroad page, they have a free version of their Toon Shader, and this is a grouping of it, and it's pretty complex inside. Now you get this for free, but you need the Goo Engine for it to run properly, and it gives more control over the shader. Gets rid of Terminator artifacts, separates passes for the self shadows, ambient light, so on and so forth. And what this does versus the basic setup is gives you a rim light. So let's go ahead and take a look at the engine. So I'm gonna get rid of this cube. And I'm going to set up the basic setup and then show you some of the differences. So just give this a material right quick. And let's set up our light. I want this to be a sun. This works a lot better when you have a sun going. I'm going to just have it kind of coming from the side so you can get an idea of how the shadows look. So one of the biggest aspects we want to work on is with the shadows after we apply the shader. So go to shader editor, and we have our material with the principled shader. So I have saved in my default startup for this engine is a shader based off one of their tutorials, and I'm just going to change the colors here. So this top color is going to be like the main color of the character, and then the bottom one is going to be the shadow. So I'm just going to go ahead and set it up so you can see what I'm talking about. So green's on top, so if I drop this down here, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. So then it just looks like it's a shaded color of the top color. Another thing I want to do right quick is change the angle of the light to 0. That improves the shadows. And I'm just going to go into this setup to show you what came out of the tutorial. So you have the shader info node, which is one of the nodes that it comes from the Goo Engine. So you see these 4 right here. This is one of them. And then you have a series of multiply and add nodes going to a color ramp, and then going into the final mix node into the output. And that's everything that's in here. However, I was talking about that Gumroad shader node. It's a lot better because it gives you a rim light and it handles all the various aspects of the toon shader a lot better. So I need to append that because I have it in another file. But before we do that, let me go ahead and get our setup in the Goo Engine. So first thing I want to do is turn on ambient occlusion. You can do motion blur if you want for animation. Let's see, shadows is going to be an important part. So let's leave cube size alone. Turn cascade size to 4096. Leave high bit depth and cel shadows on. Although sometimes they give different results, but I think we want to leave it like that. And then for color management, let's turn it to standard because we're not doing photorealistic shading. I'm going to do because medium contrast. And then later on, we're going to mess with doing LineArt. So we'll go ahead and enable the Z pass because that'll be necessary for that. Let's see, I'm gonna get my sun at a better angle. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. Sometimes I have to play with these values to get something that just more gives you sharper. There we go. So sometimes I have to leave this at 64. Sometimes I have to leave it at 4096. And it might just be the actual act of going back and forth that gets it to change. So now we have those crisper shadows in effect. Alright, with that being said, let's go ahead and bring in a Daz Studio character because I want to show you how to apply this to a 3D character that has more going on than Suzanne does. So I'm bringing a Genesis 8 male because that's going to give us more problems than a female character might. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when it happens. So it's mostly dealing with the hair. Alright, we're back. It took a while because I left the rendered view on while importing a complex character, so that was on me. Let's go ahead and move Suzanne to the side here. But I might as well stay in rendered view. Let's see, we have our character brought into a new collection. Let's go ahead and turn the view on the skeleton off so we can get a better view. So this is what the character will more or less look like in a EEVEE or Cycles scenario. So let's go ahead and try to make it more Toon-like. So we're going to start with the body. And we're dealing with the face first. And this is our setup if you brought the character in with the diffeomorphic Daz importer. So all I want to do now is bring in the shader from the Gumroad. So I'm going to do an append. And this is, I have it saved into another blend file that I downloaded from Gumroad. And then this is it right here. So this is a more advanced version of what I showed you over with Suzanne. So you see this is what comes with Suzanne. And from the tutorial from Goo Studios, but then if I go back to our character, this setup is a lot more complex. It gives you a lot more control. So what I want to do is capture the color of the skin because we're on the face material right now. So I'm gonna try this for the primary color. I'm gonna go ahead and add it. And I think that's a little bit too dark, so let's go ahead and lighten that up. I still don't like it, so what I'm going to do is just use the teardrop or the eyedropper. There we go, and get a color that is more desirable. Drop it down for the shadow color and then make it just a little bit darker. think that is pretty good. So now I just need to copy that node, use the same thing for the lips. Perhaps make it the primary color a little bit darker as well, just so the lips stand out just a little bit. Teeth, try to go inside the head a little bit here. Teeth are just the teeth, not the mouth itself, so they can stay white. Just drag this color from down here. You see that turned. And what you can do is, in order to save resources, you can hit Control Alt X, and anything that's not connected anymore will be deleted. And so you can get rid of your picture, image textures, and things like that that you no longer need. So now for torso, just copy and pasting from the face, and for the rest of the body that involves skin. Legs, even though we can't see them, let's go ahead and change it. Again, we can use Alt X to get rid of nodes, and then later on we can do clean up, recursive unused blocks, and it'll get rid of all the image textures that we're no longer using. Eye socket, same thing. Oops. Let's see, the mouth. This one is a little more interesting. So it's basically everything else inside the mouth, which is mostly pink. So I'm going to try to do the eyedropper again and find an area that might give a good result. Okay, so that's probably close enough. Maybe make it a little bit brighter. And now arms. I'm going to use that same setup. Pupils. Now pupil, for the eyes, there's a lot of stuff to figure out. So it depends on what model you're using and what type of eyes. This could be different. This character was from the Generations pack from the Daz store, so the setups might be different from other Daz characters. So I'm just going to go ahead and enable this to see what part of the eye is being affected. And it looks like pupils here. Let's see. Do a type of a green, I guess, even though that's probably not. Yeah. Eye moisture. I think the reflectiveness of the eye moisture might get in the way, so I would just go ahead and turn that into a transparent shader. Just to get that out the way. Fingernails. Let's see. I want to use a skin shader, but at the same time we want them to stand up a little bit, so maybe I'll make this a little bit lighter, like that. Cornea, again, eyes maybe a little bit different depending on your case, and let's see what that affects. Well, let's see down here what's going on. So that blocked out everything, not what we wanted. So I think what we might have to do is to use a mixed shader and a transparent shader, and then use this as the factorial. Let's see, transparent. There we go. So that kept that in place. Cornea might have just been like the reflective parts of it, so we'll see in a moment. Irises. Yeah, so choose another color. It's doing something weird. Definitely don't have to use these colors. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and make this red for no particular reason. Sclera, I want that to be white. Of course, you can do any color you want. Toenails, I mean, I would do the same thing as you would have done with the fingernails, but since I'm not gonna see the toenails, I'm not concerned about it. So I would need to do the same thing with the clothing. Should be a lot simpler. Use that same shader, but I'm going to go ahead and use the eyedropper to take a color from it. Make the second one a little bit darker. Oh, there's multiple parts to this, so now I'm just going to copy this one and use that over and over. And then you have these buttons, which, I mean, I'm not too worried about anyway, but and they all have their individual shaders. Let's see, is the belt a separate object? No, it's part of the pants. All right. So I don't know how they do jeans in anime. Let's see. Try to find a darker color, blue. May have been a little bit too dark. And again, it's always up to you how you want to handle that. All right, go ahead, copy that, and use it for the back. Belt, I'll just leave as brown. So let's go ahead and copy a color. And then we have these. Oh, these these are buttons. So you know what? Just gonna go ahead and take that button. Well, these are jeans are usually like kind of bronze colored. Yeah, so here we go. We have a bronze right here anyway. So let's go ahead and I'm not gonna worry about shadows on buttons. All across the jeans they have buttons. But you get at the idea. I don't have to go find each and every one of these. Then the shoes. Let's take a brown color from the shoes or boots. And then the soles have the same thing going on. It's going to actually leave them bronze. Go from there. Because we got a lot more work to do, particularly with the hair. Alright. For one, in the EEVEE engine, there's a lot of reflectivity here. The hair is actually supposed to be dark brown or black. I don't know why there's an emission. So this is scalp material. Let's start with the fur, which is all the meshes on top of it, all those curves and things like that. Why is there an emission to the hair? It's weird. Anyways, let's not worry about that, the old shader, because we're gonna have a new one. So I'm gonna make it close to black. Not quite all the way. So let's see what kind of result we get if we just do it like this. Then the waves. So not too bad. Although the shape, the geometry of this would not lend well to like an anime look, because you know you would just have more really flat it would just be like a flat texture. It wouldn't be all these meshes, because that would be way too complicated to draw out. So let's go back to the scalp, where we're going to have an issue here. Let's do the same thing. And the issue you have here is that it's covering a lot more than what it was originally, because there's an alpha channel. So we can do what we did earlier with the eyes and just do a mix shader. And use this where I think we got an alpha channel. So here's an alpha image texture right here. So we're going to use that for the factorial here. And then let's bring out a transparent shader or node. And that didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. So let's flip these. And there we have it. Let's see. The eyebrows, these are purely meshes, so I think we can just use the engine itself. I mean the node itself. Again, eyebrows would probably be more rectangular in shape, so you wouldn't have these individual lines painted onto the character, because that would be very complicated to do over and over. So you want to try to find a Genesis character that has that versus individual meshes. And the beard is also, very problematic in that way as well. So let's go ahead and get started on this. This is for the scalp. You're going to see the same issue as before, so let's go ahead and do a mix shader. Let's find the alpha, plug it into factorial, and then let's get a transparent shader, and then we're going to flip these. Alright, and now for the actual beard itself. So that's what your character will look like. Let me move this down. You can see you got kind of a rim light going all around, so that's cool. Now for the last part, we're going to want to try to get the LineArt going. And before we do that, let's go ahead and make a quick background. Let's do a plane, scale it by, I don't know, about 10. RX 90. Bring it back some. Let's give it a shader. Let's give it a, let's just go ahead and use Toon Shader. Let's do a blue color. There we go. And our line art is going to be dependent on our camera angle. So let's go ahead and set up our camera. I'm going to kind of get it from the side here. Bring this over to cover all that. And I think all right. So go out of rendered view, because that could crash. Let's click on our collection for our character, and this is going to go wrong. Warn you ahead of time, it's going to go wrong, but I'll show you what's going wrong first. So I'm going to go to grease pencil, collection line art, now. So what happens here is that the LineArt is drawing over everything in this collection, including the individual hair strands. So if we go to the modifier tab, we can turn this down to 1 because the lines are way too thick. But even then, you're drawing lines for every strand of hair that's been modeled here in the hair and the beard. And that's not what we want. So we without going to render view, we already know this is not what we want. So what I generally do is make a new collection and then drag everything I want to be to use LineArt to be in that collection. So we'll go up here, new, let's call this LineArt John, and then I want to hit Control and click on everything that I want to move to that collection. So the buttons are fine, jeans, buttons, oh, so many buttons. I'll move the LineArt itself over. Let's see, the outfit, definitely the body itself. Not sure what this is, but we'll move it over too because it's not the hair. Hit M, collection, go down to the LineArt, and now we're going to go to LineArt and change the collection here to LineArt John. And so now you see it's only affecting the meshes that don't have anything to do with hair. And the hair is going to be dark enough that I don't think not having LineArt is going to be an issue. Also, I want to get rid of all the splotchiness, so let's turn off some of, might turn off everything but contour. I want to keep intersections, I think. No, maybe not. Yeah, let's go ahead. Because intersections is intersections between meshes, and the meshes are colliding with each other, so I want to drop that. Also, I think the lines are still a little bit too thick, so I'm going to go down here to the data tab, go down to strokes, and put in a value for thickness scale of 0.3. And let's do for the character, click on the character, go to the Daz runtime, go to morphs and expressions. Let's do, bring this out a little bit to see. 0.5 on the full face open smile, and then let's do a little bit of surprise, 0.4. And go ahead and hit rendered. And there we have our character with a little bit of LineArt in here. And again, the hair shape is probably not optimal for a cel shaded or anime look, but it can work. At least it's shaded the proper way. The teeth is also kind of an issue because with anime, the teeth is usually one shape. You don't have these lines. So one thing you could try to do is scale the teeth so they kind of run into each other, and therefore they won't have the line. Or find a shape or make one yourself, a solid white shape to go across the teeth. But anyways, this is how I use the DillonGoo Goo Engine. Definitely check it out if you're into NPR art. Thanks for watching. Definitely check out their tutorials for a better explanation of how things work. And have a blessed day.